guys have your dice, cell phones on vibrate, you got your masks. Hell yeah! Anytime, again, especially YouTube, if the music's too loud, just let me know. A lot of times in the beginning scenes, it will start loud, and I'm going to slowly come down. But if it's still too loud, just let me know. The mic situation, it sounds better, but still, try to speak a little. You want to speak a little loudly and clearly when it's your. And I think he has enough dice.
Hey, Gil, let me get a D12.
You can never have enough dice.
Which one?
I can put these in here and they like kind of match.
Yeah.
Please give it back, though.
It looks cute.
I like those.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep them there.
I got one question. Can you start with introductions
They're
over
all
there?
18 on that. So I'm gonna
My
keep
voice is nervous.
Yo, you
We're
missed
gonna blow it up.
We're all doing air fist
La,
bumps.
la, la, la.
Hello, 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 hello. Oh, soccer moms, what's up? Hey, my name is Stan Smith. If you're watching from home, this is the Eye of Poseidon. It's a pirate adventure made here for several players that I've played with in the past. And we're trying to do something a little different, which you'll see when the game starts. We're going to do a lot of theater of the mind. We're going to have set pieces, models, figures, sound effects, and music. We ask you to be patient because a lot of the set pieces will take some time as we set them up. And you'll know ahead of time when I transition to different scenes to set up a set piece. We will be doing a lot of theater of the mind, so I'll try to be as descriptive as possible. And if for some reason, for anyone who's watching on stream or there's a chat on the side, if the volume is too low or you can't hear a particular player, we have the great Walter Ortiz working. Walter Ortiz is hiding in the back like the Wizard of Oz, and he's working the stream on Twitch. So if somebody's speaking low or there's an issue, just type in the comments, and then he'll be able to relay it back to us. So with that said, again, I am Stan Smith. I'm going to go around the table really quick. What we're going to do is the player is going to introduce themselves and the name of their character, and that's more or less it. Later on, they're going to have opportunity to get into detail and background descriptions. So again, I am Stan Smith. I'll be the Dungeon Master. This is session 1 of the Eye of Poseidon. So we're going to start over here with the player. And who are you and who are you playing?
I am Kelsey playing Mia Avalor, a Tempest Cleric.
Tempest Cleric. Sweet. Sir.
Hi, my name is Giovanni. I'm going to be playing Cassidy de Leon, who is a warlock, a hexblade warlock.
I'm Olivia. I'm playing next to Gray, a human fighter.
A human fighter? Okay. Sir.
I am Mike, playing a human barbarian.
Okay.
Hi, Caesar. I'm playing Kiryu, who's going to be a fighter monk.
Okay.
And I am Gil, playing Corazon de Ayer. Ooh, that's right. You're right to swoon, dear.
That's right. That's right. I'm in awe. One of the prerequisites for this campaign was they all had to play human characters, and you'll see why. But this is Dungeons and Dragons, so there will be the other races involved as we see. So, with that said, let's start.
Oh, I play Rogue.
I just like the ladies.
Just like all the ladies.
Hello, hello.
She'll play the parts.
My rogue's gonna be like this.
All right. So, the sea does not like to be restrained, nor does destiny. For we are all like islands in the sea, separate on the surface, but connected on the deep. Now, individually, we are all just one drop, but when strangers come together, they can face any challenge as cruel as the ocean's fury. But know this, the ocean is where fantasies become legend, legends become rumor, and rumor becomes reality. Our adventure doesn't begin in some faraway land or someplace magical. No, no, no. This tale actually begins within the town of Cambridge, Massachusetts, on the prestigious campus of MIT. Now, for those of you who aren't aware, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, it's a private university near Boston. It has an urban campus that extends about a mile alongside the Charles River. Now, we find this campus, it's early daytime as the students are traveling throughout at the beginning of the semester looking for their next learning destinations. Within the Great Dome on the campus, on the second floor, is room 2F. Here we find ourselves inside a modest lecture hall as college students begin to fill in the seats. At the front of this lecture hall is a long stage, a small table, and a podium that rises about 4 feet high. Behind the podium is a massive white erase board. It's flanked by 2 exit doors on both sides. Unlike most lecture halls, this room is actually mildly cool. The ceiling fans above spin constantly. And as the students quietly sit together and open up their laptops and tablets and cell phones as they wait for the class to begin, an instructor enters on the stage. Walking across the stage, he seems to be carrying a leather satchel and holding what appears to be a laptop. The instructor, he's a man in his mid-30s. He's pretty medium build. He wears a dress shirt. The top button is undone and the tie is sort of loose. His collars are undone. He goes and sets his laptop on this podium. And then he turns behind and he grabs what appears to be a marker off of this big giant white erase board. Students are too busy right now concentrating on all their electronic devices, as they do in most colleges. But he starts writing on the eraser board. You start hearing the screeching sounds of this marker. Everyone stops looking at their laptops and their computers, and everyone looks up at this professor. Good morning. I am Dr. Hayes, and he's writing as he's saying this. Welcome to course L550, Intro to Legends, Fantasy, and Lore. And he writes this out nice and big on the board behind him. And he stops and he closes this mark and he places it on the podium. He looks over at the crowd of students as they all stare at him, oddly trying to figure out how is he going to present this course. He says to the students, fantasy. Fantasy is a word we've seen and we've heard of many a times. The question is, what does fantasy mean to you? I know what fantasy means to me. And he starts scanning all the students and he walks over to the computer and with his finger you see him swiping the screen as if he's looking for something. Is there a Kelsey King in the class? Kelsey King.
Present.
Okay, you raise your hand. Thank you, Kelsey. When I mentioned fantasy, what does that mean to you?
Adventures and dragons and magic.
Excellent. And that is a common theme that everyone hears when they think of fantasy. But one thing I want to point out, she mentioned dragons. So he reaches up and he grabs a small little black device with a button on it. And he presses this button. A slide appears on the whiteboard. And it's a picture of a giant dragon. Dragons, what's odd about dragons in reality is this. Every culture throughout the world, throughout modern history, has some type of story, artwork, designs about dragons. Now, we haven't seen any dragon bones. We've seen dinosaur bones, but dragon bones? Not necessarily. So how is it people from feudal Japan around the same time as medieval Europe can have depictions of dragons? You see him looking through this chart. Is there a Labault, an Olivia Labault?
Yep.
Raise your hand, please. Okay, he says to you, what's your opinion about dragons? When you think of dragons, what do you think?
Think it'd be dope to ride one.
Exactly. Now, some cultures, Olivia, their dragons don't fly. In fact, if you think about China, their dragons were more forest dragons. So, as mentioned, there are lots of things unique about dragons, as Miss LeBolt pointed out. They fly, but some don't. Some are aquatic. Some burrow in the earth. Now, again, the question comes up, do dragons exist or is it something in our imagination? He clicks again for the next slide. The next slide comes up. It's a person sleeping in a bed. He looks at the person and he turns around and looks back at the class. He looks over at some syllabus. Is there a Giovanni Romero in this group?
Here.
Mr. Giovanni, the person sleeping behind me is obviously in a dream state. And when we talk about fantasy, is it reality or dreams? What I'd like you to describe, when you have a dream, what do you dream of and what excites you in your dreams?
Freedom, adventure, heroes and villains.
And this is why Hollywood does well, because their writers know how to touch into that little core in the back of their mind to find such thing as Mr. Romero has mentioned, adventure and excitement. And they put it on a script, and they're able to produce awesome movies for all of us. So, is it only when we sleep, though? And when we sleep, are we actually just sleeping? Or are our minds going someplace else? He reaches up. He presses the button again, and a new slide pops up. Now, this time it's a slide of Albert Einstein. He looks over at the syllabus on his screen, and he says, is there a Gil Martinez in this lecture hall? He looks over, and there's a student raising his hand towards the front row. Mr. Martinez, Einstein was one of the smartest minds of our time. And one of the things he discussed and talked about were parallel universes, different realities. What do you know of parallel universes?
Well, I know that supposedly the same universe, or the same sequence of events, just in a different universe.
Is it so? In your opinion, do you think it's possible for our reality and a parallel reality to come together?
I don't know.
That's the right answer. I don't know, and that's why we're here. There's a lot of things we're going to discuss, and there's some questions that need to be answered. He turns around and he clicks another slide. Now this slide appears to be of Nostradamus. And it's Nostradamus, and most of you guys have an idea from famous drawings and paintings of this man. And he says to the class, Nostradamus was renowned for telling the future. But there were things he talked about that were supposed to happen that didn't. But how do we know it did not happen during another parallel universe? He presses the slide projector one more time. This time it's a large picture of a black flag with a skull and crossbones on it. Is there a Caesar? Caesar, how do you pronounce your last name, sir?
Garide, sir.
Caesar, when you see this pirate flag, what do you feel? What's the emotional connection or description you have when you see a flag like this?
It's kind of a tense feeling, because when it comes to pirates, pirates are known for violence and pillaging and stealing, as well as like treasures, as well as being in large groups of people.
He nods at you. He says, Mr. Daniels, is there a Michael Daniels within the lecture hall?
Here.
Jumping on what Mr. Caesar said, what is your opinion of pirates?
The feeling of liberation, freedom, the open seas, pretty much doing whatever you want, whenever you want, because everything is yours.
And we can't do that in our own society, ladies and gentlemen. He turns around and he hits one more slide. This slide is a recent image of a modern day shipping vessel. They're all state of the art. You see computer technology on the deck, satellite dishes, very expensive vessel. From the image, several people are wearing white paper suits, and they're standing on the boat's main deck. They appear to be standing around a blue tarp, and it's covered in seaweed, small fish, crabs, and a very large, dirty chest. The professor turns away from the monitor and looks at everyone, and he says, "These are slides of a recent scientific salvage conducted within the Caribbean Sea. After dredging a site wherein old pirate ships were discovered, researchers pulled this chest. But it's not what's in the chest that's important. No, it's what's inside." He goes and he presses the next slide. During the next slide, he says, what's unique is in this picture. Now, in this picture of the next slide, you see a hand wearing blue latex gloves holding a brown leather-bound book. What's unique about this book is it wasn't damaged by decay, time, or the elements. After further research, this book appears to be a journal or a story by a captain of a ship called the Sea Ferret. Within the old pages of this journal, The captain documents the events of a quest for an artifact called the Eye of Poseidon. Either this captain was a master storyteller, or he was documenting true events that blur the line between fantasy or reality. He clicks the slide projector and it goes black on the wall behind him. He faces all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, this course is actually going to be a case study of what was found within that book. He grabs another controller. He presses a button. The lights dim lower. He begins to roll up his sleeves as he walks over to his computer. So, ladies and gentlemen, students of my course, without further ado, I present you with the Eye of Poseidon. I'm going to be setting up a map. Just give me a few minutes. So.
I'm such a college student.
For real. I'm actually a college student.
That's fine.
It's gonna be a good campaign.
Just went to a commercial break.
Caesar, I'm going to go into your side because there's more room.
Yeah, that's fine. Did you need me to go over it?
Yeah, if you could.
Good to see you from Carol.
Yeah, right.
This would be so much easier if it was digital.
They're not in that black bag. They're in a little gray baggie, right? Yeah, they're in the house. Sorry.
That's a boat.
This was digital, it'd be a lot easier, right? Right. The map.
Everything's put down your cross and everything.
All right, Mr. Walter.
They need to put my guy on there.
Our story begins somewhere within the sea of falling stars. It is a clear night as the moon stares down upon a lone black ship. The single white flag displaying a black bleeding hand flutters above elegant black sails. This lone ship is called the Lost Hope, an infamous pirate ship commanded by one of the deadliest pirates of all time, Ignacio the Black. In the distance, about 200 yards from the Lost Hope, burning is another ship slowly sinking into the unforgiving sea. Orange flames flicker onto every single wave around this ship as bodies float like driftwood. A thick column of white smoke stretches upward into the chilly night sky. As the evening waves slap against the Lost Hope, its crew of Spaniard pirates gather around the deck. The pirates assemble around a beaten man who's on his hands and knees, and his 2 young children who are tied and bound behind him. As the man pleads for the safety of his 2 children, a deep, booming voice can be heard from behind the crew. Apparently, Mr. Holland, you play me for a fool, no? Let me introduce myself, amigo. I am Ignacio el Negro, Ignacio the Black. And this is my ship, the Lost Hope. And these handsome men behind me? Mi compadres, these are my men, my crew. Now, Ignacio the Black, he's an older man in his early 60s, and he's pretty stocky. He has a dark tan. He has a Dolly-style curved mustache, and his hair is slicked back. He has white on the sides. He has a little pot belly, but he's not overweight by any means. And Ignacio also wears, like the rest of the men on his crew, the finest linens. Unlike other pirates that just throw on ugly garbs and clothes that just are a mess, not the pirates on the Lost Hope. They are very elegant and particular about what they wear. One of Ignacio's trademarks is a wolf pelt he wears over his right shoulder, and he's always seen with these gold gauntlets that extract blades on each finger. He walks through the crew of pirates, and he approaches this man on the ground. Now, the man on the ground, his name is Mr. Holland, and he was the merchant, the owner of the ship that was sinking 200 yards away. Ignacio stands over him. Mr. Holland, this can be simple or it can be hard. I prefer it to be simple, my friend, because your children do not need to see you bleeding on my deck. And besides, it is a mess to clean up. So, my little birdies tell me that you have information about a map. A map that can lead us to something called the Eye of Poseidon. Does that singer ring a bell? Mr. Holland on the ground, he's a mess. His eyes swollen, blood is dripping out of his mouth. He's been beaten pretty badly. His children are mortified. About 5 and 6-year-old boy and a girl, and they just got their arms all roped and tied up, and they're leaning against the railing of the deck. As Ignacio stands over Mr. Holland, Holland looks up at him. Please, I've told you everything I know. Just don't harm my children. I'm not lying to you, please. I don't know anything about a map or anything of that. Ignacio holds up a single finger. Amigo, that's not what I want to hear. This is not going the way I like it. Santiago, what information do you have from the manifest? When he says that, a Spaniard parts and walks past all the other pirates. He walks next to Ignacio and he's holding his book. Santiago is his second mate. He's a thinner version of Ignacio, but in his hand he holds a manifest. He walks up to Ignacio. El Capitan, Mr. Holland's manifest indicates the last person he met on this manifest was a man named Thick Farseeker at Waterdeep. Maybe this Farseeker knows information about the map since this cabron is not telling you anything, Capitan. So, Santiago slips back. Ignacio goes down to his knees, on the ground on one knee. He uses his 2 fingers to look up the head of Mr. Holland. You're obviously not telling me everything. So, normally I would kill you, but I need information. So I'm going to have to beat the information out of you. And he stands up and he turns back and he looks over at all the pirates. Cassidon, where are you, Cassidon? Describe to us what your character looks like.
Cassidon is a somewhat stocky pirate. He's Spaniard, dark hair, has a small trimmed beard. He wears a white outfit with a white hood over his head, and he has a flintlock across. Or I'm sorry, he doesn't have a flintlock. He just has a quarterstaff that he carries on his back, and he has a small little buckler.
You are a pirate on his ship, and you've been on his ship for about maybe 6 years from now. Like the other pirates on this ship, you are very careful about how you look. You bathe daily. Your clothes are meticulous. The only difference between you and many of the other pirates on the Lost Hope is inside you have a conscience. You've seen horrible things happen, but you know what? You've kept to yourself. And you've always listened to Ignacio. And you know how dangerous Ignacio is. In fact, there was many times in the past you've seen Ignacio fighting multiple guys at one time, killing them instantly. And there's even talk amongst the crew that Ignacio may be immortal. So he calls you. You step forward. Put your character on the table. Can you please move Ignacio up close to? Next to you? Right next to you, yep. Ignacio, he says to you, Ignacio, Cassidy, this man is obviously not telling me what I need to hear. Do me a favor. Rough him up a bit. And Ignacio steps back. Holland, on his hands and knees, looks up at you, and his eyes almost look like a puppy dog. The one eye that you can see, because the other eye's closed up, tears are going down it. What catches your attention is the two children behind their father, shaking, and a look of terror on their face. Mr. Holland looking up at you, and he says really low, do what you will to me, but please don't harm my children. The other pirates are sort of giggling and laughing. Cassidy, take care of him! Kick his ass!
Captain Ignacio, may I ask you a question, please?
Ignacio is looking at the manifest with Santiago. He looks at you. What is your question, Cassidy?
Can I take Holland at least around the corner? I don't want his kids to see this.
Make a charisma roll, please.
Yeah, so it begins. Yeah,
17.
Normally, my friend, what you ask for, you get. And I've been good to you, have I not?
You have, Captain, yes.
So, with that said, I hear what you are saying, and I appreciate it. But a lesson must be made in front of everybody here. Rough him up. And everyone sort of steps back.
Alright, I want to grab my quarterstaff off my back and kind of hold it shaking a bit.
Okay, and you see, make an intimidation roll, please.
15.
As soon as you pull it out, Mr. Holland closes his one eye, and he's getting ready to get striked.
I want to kind of swing, but just before I hit, I kind of hold back slightly.
Okay, let's do a, let's try a dexterity roll.
Dexterity?
Yeah. And let's do 10 or higher.
17.
You do, and it stops right at his face. And at that moment, you hear him let out a gasp, and Mr. Holland just crashes to the ground, and he begins to sob. The two children are sobbing also as you stand over him. There's a hush with all the pirates around you, and there are a lot of them. And you know that challenging Ignacio is probably a death wish. Okay, excuse me, ma'am. No, none of that helping. So you stop with the stick, and you hear behind you, well, you apparently scared him. Ignacio walks over to you and he puts his hand on your shoulder, and you hear the squeaking sounds of the metal gauntlet. He looks down at Mr. Holland as he's standing next to you. Well, Mr. Holland, obviously you're not talking. So, I have no other choice. I am not a monster. I am not going to kill your two children. But one is going to die tonight. And you, Mr. Holland, will be allowed to choose which one dies at Cassidy's hand. Ignacio steps back. Everyone steps back as you stand there. No, not my children, not my children! Holland is yelling on the ground. Please take my life, I'll give you anything. Not my children, I told you everything possible. Okay, I got a letter to give to Farseeker from Preston on Turncoat Island, but I don't know, I didn't open up the letter. I have no idea about a map, but please, my children have nothing to do with this. Santiago, the second mate, says, Cassidy, do what your captain says. The two children look mortified. You have choices. Now, sir, your choices are going to be the following. You could kill a child, one of your choice, or if he doesn't pick the one to choose, or you could tell him to pick one. You could attempt to fight it out if you feel this is something that you wouldn't do as a character. Or you could use the ship's environment to strategically find a way out of this situation.
Okay. What do I see around me that I could possibly use to my advantage?
Your eyes start to scan. Let's do a perception roll, and I want you to do it with advantage.
12.
You need a 10 or higher. Your eyes start scanning really quick the layout of the ship. You see that there is the support rope for the main boom. And for those who don't know what a boom is, it is a horizontal beam that attaches to the sails, and it's pretty large, and it can swing violently around the ship. You see that the actual rope pulley that supports and prevents this boom is about several feet from you. Make another perception roll.
Nat 20.
Nice. First one.
Nice.
Nat 20! Yay! Okay, Alright, since you got a nat 20, your mind starts to click into gear with your pirate experience. You know that if you were to cut the boom rope and grab onto it, it would hoist you up in the air to one of the joists, the gifts up top. And while you're up at the top, you also see there's a pulley support for a sailboat on the side of the ship. If you release that sailboat, it drops to the ground. You could possibly swing like Tarzan, grabbing the two children and make an escape. But unfortunately, it's either the children or Mr. Holland. You can't take all three. If this is something that you dangerously like to try, that's what this game's about.
I want to ask something of Captain Ignacio.
Okay.
And
Ask.
as I do that, I want to kind of try to make my way closer to that rope that I know.
Kassadin, what is going on?
Captain, I have a question. Maybe something that you can answer for me.
Speak your mind.
Would it be better to live life as a monster or to die as a good man?
He looks at you. What? And are you going to start?
I'm going to start. I'm going to try and cut the rope.
You take your blade out and you first go to the main boom rope. If you successfully cut this rope, the boom will sweep across the deck, knocking all the pirates on their ass.
Right.
And make that roll. This is going to be...
Dead?
You better not die.
For real, this is the first session. Please don't.
You're going to need a 10 or higher.
10 or higher, okay.
Go.
What kind of roll? Just a roll?
This is going to be a regular roll, 10 or higher. Yep. Strength.
15.
You do it. Boom! The rope. You grab on and make a dexterity roll to grab the rope, and you do this with advantage.
11.
8 or higher. You do it, and your body sails straight up into the sky, up to the crow's nest, and you stop. Looking down, you hear thud, 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 thud. Almost every pirate gets knocked on their ass as you stand up top. The wind is blowing. The white flag of Ignacio's waves next to you as you stand at the top. You see is the pulley to release the sailboat below. If you cut this, you can swing down and grab either Mr. Holland or the two children and make a getaway.
All right. Go for it. Pocket minute now.
All right, this is only going to be one roll. To cut the rope and drop the sailboat is going to be another. You need a roll of a strength roll of 7 or higher.
Okay. 15.
Wow. You cut it! You hear a splash as a rowboat drops to the water below the side of the ship. You grab onto the rope. There's a lot of slack to swing down and get the kids. This is going to be difficult. Are you ready?
Yep.
As you look down, the pirates are all hurt, but they're slowly getting up. The children are looking up at you. You swear you see Mr. Holland almost telling you with a nod of his head as he has an idea what you're going to do. My friend, this is a very high roll for you. This is going to be an acrobatics or dexterity roll to do this Tarzan swing.
All right.
Go.
21.
Hell yeah.
You swing down, grabbing it, swinging across. The wind blows past your hair. You cape flutters, your jacket flutters. You see the two children, and in one sweet motion, are you going for them or the Mr. Holland?
I'm going for the children.
He's going for the children. You swing down like Tarzan, grab the two children, and in a brief moment you hear Mr. Holland say, "May the gods bless you," as you fly over the side and you land into the sailboat in the ground below you. Whew. You hear a lot of commotions going on. The boat begins to drift away into the night. But some of the sounds you can clearly hear when you pass it. Yeah. You can hear the sounds of the port windows opening up on the sides of the Lost Hope, and that means cannon fire is coming your way. The boat being pushed out more and more into the distance, and it's pretty fast because Ignacio's ships, even the ship itself and the sailboat, they're designed to pick up speed and cut through the water. As you start moving and going through, you swear you hear the sound of a cannon being prepped to fire. Cannons start flying and going off, and cannonballs are heading your way and landing near the ship, near your little sailboat. I want you grabbing these oars going, and the two children are laying prone on the ground as you're pulling further and further away from the Lost Hope. This time, a cannonball comes, and that sound, cutting through the air, sounds like it's about to hit you. You're going to make a chance roll with 20-sided dice. 10 and under, your rowboat is going to get hit.
10 and under.
11 and higher, you successfully escape with the children.
Oh no.
8. Oh, I did all that.
The boat gets hit and flips over. In a moment, you hear silence as you go underwater. The boat right-sides itself up as you instinctively hold onto the sides, and you're covered in water and drenched completely. There's water all in the boat. As the boat sails more away and further away from the cannon fire range, the two children are missing. You immediately run to the stern of the little rowboat, and you put your hands and you start frantically trying to look in the dark. And all you hear are splashes and dark fins moving about between you and the Lost Hope. And as you start fading away from the ship, you hear the voice of Ignacio the Black carrying in the distance. May the ocean gods show you mercy, amigo, because when we meet again, I will show you none. Okay, I'm gonna take a break, set up the next piece. The children. The children. You're doing so awesome. Can you probably get an act?
Oh my goodness.
It'd be a shame if you just had to kill them.
That's badass, bro. You're killing it.
You had it.
And then I did not stick the landing. Oh my god, that was so bad. That was some Jack Sparrow shit till the end.
That was from Jackson.
Actually, no, that was perfect. Yeah, that's something that he was used to. Even get hit by the cannon.
Yeah.
People in here too?
Yeah, everything. Yep.
Man.
You got space?
No, you're good.
Yeah, that sucks.
They got eaten by sharks. Did good. You did
They had a painful death.
You tried.
They were kids.
Well, I'm gonna have a big grudge.
You should have saved the dude who got the
Not
letter.
so.
The man had a letter.
Yeah.
The man did have a letter. Yeah, but
I let down the dad, man.
To the gods.
I mean, you did what you could. It's literally not your fault.
Yeah.
Of course, the character doesn't know that. He probably is gonna think it's his fault.
Oh man. That's kind of sick, man. He looks like a Dark Souls boss.
That's what I'm saying. Like, yo, is that Dark Souls for you?
Hey, that was dope.
Yeah?
That was dope. Except for that last one. That's a chance.
I know. I was just
The
too
children.
off. Too off.
What you got in?
I got a nice one.
Oh,
Alright, here we go.
Oh, shit, right.
get that out of the way.
Oh my God.
boat
which-
myself.
Works.
Hey, Walter, can you see the map?
Tipping my own boat. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh man.
Pushing the kids on board.
It's
You're
okay.
slowing
Next
me
time.
down.
Next time.
Alright. It's okay.
You'll have another opportunity.
Yeah.
The kids are gonna come back and fight you.
It's a beautiful summer day within the port city of Waterdeep. The city of splendor is ruled by King Beltram and his council of 5. King Beltram is known for his greed, his cruelty, and earns respect through fear. Mia, your story begins within the grand halls of Cromwell Palace, home of King Beltram himself. Can you please describe your character?
I am a Tempest cleric, very, very tall and elegant, and my armor always looks perfectly pristine, and yeah, I'm a little bit prudish
Of course.
And muscular.
and muscular. I'm badass.
Mia, you find yourself walking down a grand marble hallway within the palace. Sunlight from massive arched windows to your left reflect off of armor suits to your right. Ornate tapestries hang from the arched ceiling, lightly fluttered by some unseen draft. The temperature within Cromwell Palace is strangely cool, and the smell of flowers and burning wood fills your nostrils. As you briskly walk towards the royal chambers, you're flanked by 2 female sailors known as sirens, such as yourself. And sirens are elite sailors of all females, hand-selected by a particular admiral. The 2 sirens that walk side by side of you are Rihanna and Helena Ostario. Both of them are sisters, and they're in their late 30s, extremely attractive like yourself. Each, like you, are wearing traditional dark blue naval uniforms, a requirement for anyone coming to visit within the Cromwell Palace. Walking several feet in front of you is Admiral Greylock, commander of the Royal Navy and the elite Sirens. He's a slender man in his 50s. He has a shaved head. Today he wears his traditional white Navy uniform, a white flowing cape, and orange sash. The Admiral, he's been called upon, he's been known as the greatest naval mind and pirate hunter of all time. In fact, the pirates and enemies of the crown, they dubbed Admiral Greylock as the Phantom. Walking in complete unison with your siren sisters, your group approaches 2 large gray oak doors of polished steel. The doors are flanked by 2 royal guards, and they're wearing red tunics, leather armor, and they're both holding royal pikes. An older man with a beard stands between both of them. He's wearing a red robe and a black beret with a long white feather sticking out of it. The older man is the royal advisor to King Beltram. His name is Reynard. Upon seeing you, Captain Admiral Greylock, and the 2 sirens, Helena and Rihanna, he steps forward to greet the Admiral. Good afternoon, Admiral. Thank you so much for coming. And he looks over at you. Is this the siren you spoke of? The Admiral, very stoic, standing at his side. Reynard, he looks at you. He looks back at Reynard. It is. Reynard says, excellent, this is great. Rihanna, Helena, and the 2 female sirens with their stoic, dead stares do not even acknowledge him. Reynard says, well, do you have a name, my dear?
Mia.
Mia, there's some ground rules to go over with you before we go into the chamber with the king. Immediately when you enter, bow to the lord of this kingdom. Do not approach the king unless you're told to do so, and only refer to King Beltran as my liege or my king.
As he's talking, I'm gonna look at Admiral Greylock and like with a question look on my face.
You do. Admiral Greylock is just looking directly at Reynard, not acknowledging you, and he has a stoic look on his face, similar to both Rihanna and Helena.
I'll follow suit.
You must leave your weapons behind with the guards, and the 2 siren sisters have to stay outside. Admiral, of course, you can go in with your siren. Lastly, and very important for you to understand, because I know how these sirens have a reputation for violence. Within the chamber is King Beltran's captain of the guard, Asher, the knight. If you make any sudden moves towards the king, Mia, Asher will remove your head before your body even knows it's missing. So, do not approach the king unless he asks you to. Do you understand, young lady?
Very well.
Admiral, let us in. And you guys, the doors open up as these two guards slowly begin to push it inward. Put your character right up there in the front. And shoot, I can't find the mini. Put this next to your character. The massive gray doors that are pushed inward by the royal guards. Beyond this doorway, as you enter in, is a large 40-foot by 30-foot room. It's flanked by two other royal guards standing vigil. Two large arched windows to the north, directly in front of you, allow the afternoon sunlight to penetrate and provide ample lighting for this chamber. There are 4 stone pillars that flank a very ornate large desk in the center of the room. Sitting at this ornate desk is King Beltran himself. He is a very large man, almost like a linebacker, with wavy blonde hair, dark eyes, and he wears a small, simple gold crown on his head. King Beltran happens to be resting his hand on top of a satin blue pillow with gold tassels. A small halfling, it stands on a bench right next to the king. He has some shears and some files, and he's very carefully and very nervously working on manicuring and trimming and cleaning the king's nails. On the east side of the room is a large, elegant red sofa, and beyond that is another oak door leading to an unknown room. To the west of the chamber is a large knight, larger than any knight you've seen before. His armor is meticulously polished. He wears a royal tunic. The knight wears a silver mask on his face that resembles a majestic god. The only thing you can really see are his dark eyes. This impressive knight is Asher, commander of the King's Royal Guard. And Asher, with his eyes, carefully watches you as you enter this room. Several royal guards stand by in other parts of the room, and the king appears to be speaking to another guard standing directly in front of his desk.
Let me get this straight,
King Beltran says to the guard.
You want to spare these puppies' lives because they are puppies? Are you mad? You know that bitch of a dog was raised and bred on that pirate ship. Those puppies are alive because of food these filthy pirates fed to that bitch dog. No. Each puppy must die, and that bitch dog is going to watch you do it. You're going to grab each puppy's head and twist until you hear it snap. And then take all those puppies and feed them to the pirates waiting for execution. Don't ever come to me with a problem like this again.
And you notice the guard trembling. My liege. He bows and he turns and he walks out. Can you give me that guy right there in the middle?
John Wick. It's John Wick.
Some tyranny.
The king, as he's getting his nails done nervously, you notice that the halfling is very small but very nervous, and his eyes are constantly darting up to you and to the nails, and he's very carefully, and you see sweat coming down the halfling's face as he's very carefully trying not to hurt the king as he's cutting these nails. And the halfling is really small, it's like a child. That's why he's standing on a stool next to the king. As the king sits there with his large hand out and this halfling holding on to it, trying to cut and very carefully trim, the king looks up at you and looks at Admiral Greylock.
Ah, the Phantom himself. Is this the siren you talked about?
Admiral Greylock, very father-like, places his hand on your shoulder. Aye, my liege. And he bows. What do you do?
I will bow, slightly bow.
Okay, you slightly bow, but it's still a bow.
Yes.
The Admiral puts his hand down to your side. She is more than capable for the job, my lord. He steps back, and the admiral walks over to the red couch. Can you move that token over there? He throws back his cape to one side, and he sits almost very gentlemanlike, and he crosses his leg very quietly. The king is staring at you with a perplexed look on his face. You're actually disgusted with the king. Even though you are for the kingdom, you do not agree with the king's policies, and his reputation, obviously, just in the few minutes when you walked in, definitely is something horrible. He's glancing over at you.
My child, I don't bite. Come closer.
With his other hand. Are you going to move closer?
Mm-hmm.
Slide your character up, please. As you move closer, Asher, actually, you hear the sound of his armor squeaking as he steps a few paces, and his hand just sort of grabs onto the sword hilt. And you hear him say, "Ugh," just like a moan, but no noise, no verbal.
I'm gonna nod at him.
The king says to you,
Do you have a name, my child?
It's Mia.
Mia. Do you have a last name?
Avalor.
he goes like this with his hand that's not being tended to by the halfling. Turn around for your king. And he sort of licks his lips when he says this. Now, you sort of glance over at the Admiral. The Admiral is watching you to see what your reactions are going to be, the disciplined siren that you are.
I'm going to look at him for approval or not.
And he's staying stoic. He wants you to make these decisions on how you handle it. But you were given specific orders before you entered, so you have to weigh the pros and the cons.
I'll do 110.
You slowly turn around. The king says,
I've seen better, but she'll have to do. You're probably wondering why you were called upon my chambers, little dove. Now you know. I have birds throughout this kingdom, and these birds tell me of a pirate, an illegal smuggler that routinely comes to Waterdeep. I have yet to find any evidence on this smuggler. He goes by the name of Captain Thip Farseeker. Does that sound familiar to you?
No, it doesn't.
the halfling, more sweat is coming down the halfling's brow, and it actually starts to glisten as you see it. He's very carefully trying to cut the nails. Tomorrow, this Farseeker sets sail on an excursion. For me to administer swift justice for pirate scum and smugglers, I need evidence. And that's where you come in, my little dove. I need you to be a spy. Tomorrow, before he leaves, I hear that he's advertising for a new crew. I want you to go to his ship with a different alias and offer your services to go to sea. I'm going to give you this. The king reaches down with the one hand. He pulls up a jar and he places this jar on his table. And inside the jar are these lights and they're dancing around. It looks like insects, but they're glowing. He tells you, these are messenger sprites. They teleport in a blink of an eye. I want daily updates from you, young lady, on the status. You remove one of the insects and they fly into your hand. You whisper to it, and it disappears back to my chambers and provides my staff an update. But if one night goes by without an update, young lady, we'll assume you were killed. We'll dispatch your admiral and your sirens to attack and capture Farseeker's ship. He will be executed. Your body will receive proper burial, and the other crew members, well, they too, like dogs, will be put down. But when you find the first sign that Farseeker is a smuggler or a pirate, and again, you see the halfling working even quicker now, getting nervous. One sign of that imbecile being a pirate, you kill him instantly. Do you understand me, my child?
Yes, I do.
Repeat it! And he says it almost strictly to you and loudly.
I will kill him if I find out.
Who will you kill?
Captain Farseeker.
Excellent. He looks around, sort of smiling, almost proud that he has this mission for you. Do you have any questions, little dove?
Are you giving me a time frame?
When the sprites disappear, time is up. And judging from what's inside there, you've got probably 2 months worth. You understand?
Very well.
At that moment, the king pulls back his hand, ah! And he looks at his fingers, blood drips from it. The halfling drops to the ground, covering his face. My lord, my liege, I'm so sorry, please! This little halfling's fingers cover his mouth, and you see blood dripping from the king's fingers.
You freakish animal! Asher!
Asher goes over with one hand and grabs the halfling, lifts him up in the air, and slams him on the table, the desk. The halfling's little legs are kicking, his eyes dart at you, and his tears are filling up. My king, I'm so sorry, it was an accident!
You dare spill royal blood? Hold his arm out, Asher!
Asher takes his other hand and holds out this halfling's little hand, it's almost the size of a child, and his hand is shaking. The king reaches up and grabs these sheer scissors. To a normal man, they could probably cut a finger, but to a halfling, they can remove an entire hand. The king walks over and puts his hand on top of Asher's that's holding this halfling's hand. The halfling's eyes are darting at you. Oh my God, please, please!
King Beltran. Why don't you let that halfling come with me? He's clearly not worthy of your time.
Make a charisma roll with disadvantage, and you need a 15 or higher. Say, what did you roll again?
A 4.
He looks at you with a disgust look on his face, and you swear in the corner of your eye you see Admiral Greylock going like this as he puts his head down to the ground, as you're breaking a rule. The king scowls at you. He takes the scissors and he grabs the hand of the halfling. The halfling is just crying. It's the most saddest sight. And as he goes to cut,
I turn around.
and you hear snip, the room falls quiet. You hear the sound of a body hitting the ground. You turn around.
Sure, yeah.
As you turn around, you see the halfling with all his fingers and his hands looking in shock. And the king smiles. You see, you freakish little animal, you half of a human, half of a dog. Anybody can cut a nail. Only a fool of your race can do this damage to me. It's easy to cut nails. In fact, he takes the scissors, spins around the handle, and he holds them out to you. My child, take the scissors. He places his large royal hand on the pillow with his pinky up. Now, in Waterdeep, when a man holds his pinky up, that's offensive to women. To them, they feel they can hold a woman down with their pinky and have their way with them. So he knows what he's doing. He's holding his pinky up to you. Cut.
The sword, put it.
Now, as you do that, Asher starts walking over to you, and you hear the sounds of a sword slowly coming out. Somebody's story may end quicker than we thought. The other guards in the room sort of walking forward also. Greylock, the admiral, however, sits calmly and stoically, having trust that you'll probably make the right decision. You start the scissors at the king's pinky finger, and he has a devilish grin to you as you hold the scissors. Cut my nail, my child, he says to you.
And I do.
You're going to need to make a roll for this young lady.
Oh boy. Cut it now.
Yep.
Off of this page.
Carefully. It's a fingernail. Let's do a dexterity roll.
9.
You actually cut some of his finger, and you feel it, and you pull the scissors back, and actually blood drips out. The king looks, and he doesn't even flinch at your cut. And he slowly holds it up, and he has a big smile on his face, and very seductively, with his large mouth, he sucks his finger, and he pulls it out. And he says to you, I hope your espionage skills are better than your pathetic manicurist skills. Admiral, take her and be gone. Give her the necessary work for the mission at hand. And he sucks his finger. Bye, my child. There'll be others just like you. The Admiral gets up and bows. He walks over to your side, and he stands next to you, waiting for you to reciprocate. The Admiral does.
I drop the scissors and turn to walk away.
As you do that, the Admiral grabs onto your arm, and he says below his breath, Now Now's not the time, my child. Now's not the time. Only you can hear him say that to you.
I'll turn and bow.
The Admiral actually goes and picks up the scissors that you dropped, and he hands it over to one of the guards. The guards quickly grab it and move it out. You both turn and walk out, and the last thing you hear coming from the king is the sucking sound of his finger and the sobbing from a halfling who's on the ground.
Disgusting. Admiral, why would you pick me for that?
As the door closes, you're going to say, what? I'm sorry?
Why would you pick me for that task?
My dear, you have a skill set unlike other sirens. The ability to manipulate the elements and other powers that are beyond the scope of, like Helena and Rihanna or the other sirens. You did well. Granted, the king is unorthodox, and many don't agree with his ways. He is still our king. So we need you to do this.
Very well.
I will arrange for your clothing. I'll also arrange for references that have been forged. So you immediately tomorrow morning make your way to the northern docks, find Farseeker's ship, and make sure you get on board. You did well, my child. And he turns, the Admiral starts walking down the corridor. But at that moment, both Rihanna and Helena, they approach you. Rihanna, the older one with the white streaks, she sort of looks at you and she looks back over your shoulders at the closed doors of the chambers, and she obviously can tell you're pretty shook up. Rihanna says to you, "Are you okay, my sister?"
I'm fine. He's a pig.
Indeed he is. She looks at you, "For your safety." She goes like that to her chest.
I'll do that.
And Rihanna steps up, or the other sister, "For your safety." She looks at you and goes like that.
Thank you, sisters.
And the three of you start almost in unison, start making your way out of the royal chambers because you have
Die on the first one. Trying to get killed.
Yeah, and again, if you guys end up dying, that's it. As my campaign says, you're aware. If you die, don't say, "Okay, roll a new character, come back." That's it. So you're done. You're more than welcome to come back and sit and watch. Be very careful because your characters have low health at first level. So just keep this in mind. So bite your tongue if you have to. As you
I had to.
hide if you have to. Talk your way out of things as you tried, or run away. These are things you have to keep in mind.
It's a good thing I have plot armor, right?
That's right.
That's a lot of armor. Good thing I'm the main character.
Yeah, right.
Darkness falls across the cave entrance of the Temple of Shadow. An ancient temple once used for human sacrifices to the sea god Oceanus, an ancient kraken. But blood flows once again as the Brotherhood of Despair have taken up residency within this temple. Oh my god. And on this dreary summer night, several of these cultists tie a young, naked woman to a stone altar as they prepare to spill her blood to appease their kraken god. Crackling torch flames over in the distance near the temple entrance illuminate glyphs below the stone altar. The altar is located at the base of a circular ravine which is surrounded by 30 to 40 feet of rock, stone, dirt, and roots. About 30 yards from the altar, the temple doors lay open, exposing a dimly lit corridor which descends into shadow. However, the moon is not the only thing watching the altar of Oceanus. At the top of a ravine, 3 souls steadily peer down at the cultists. Describe your character.
My character is a
Louder.
My character is a fairly tall fighter. Though he likes to use his fist a lot, he will resort to other weapons when used. He's sort of always serious, kind of has a mean mug to him, but inside he's mainly pretty good and tries to do the right thing.
Okay, and describe your character.
I'm a little bit shorter than him. We're siblings. I like to stick to the point and get the job done. Sometimes I kind of have to drag him along, but sometimes he points my moral compass in the right way, so we're a good pair.
Okay, I forgot this token for the third character. The third character that is with both of you, brother and sister, he's an older dwarf. His name is Hagen Stonehead. And the 3 of you lie prone as you peer down into a ravine to see this upcoming sacrifice of this young woman. Now, Hagen, he's an older dwarf. He wears studded armor. He carries a leather satchel, his trusty battle axe, which is always bound to his back. He has a very fluffy gray beard, and the bottom are all in braids and is tied together with old roots. As the chanting continues, Hagen takes out some telescope. Click, 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 click. He starts looking through the telescope at the cultists below. Ah, I see what's going on. There's 3 of them. The woman has many bruises on her. She actually looks younger. Probably her early 20s. Here, Nix, tell me what you see. And he flips around, Nix, the telescope, and he gives it to you. As you look through the telescope, Nix, you see before you a young woman that's been completely shaved. Her hair, her eyebrows, she has bruises all throughout her body. And as you zero in the bruises, you see that, you hear Hagen tell you, looks like she's been roughed up. Make a medicine roll. Wisdom or medicine?
6.
As far as you can tell, those are the only injuries that you see. And make a history check roll after that.
18.
Okay. Based on the history that you know of this cult, they routinely find young women, sexually assault them, saying that they are concubines, oracles, if you will. And then when they feel there is no more need or they're getting to a certain age, they kill them or sacrifice them, as what you're about to see. Hagen says to you, as you have the binocular and you scan this area, this is what I think we should do, guys. Let them kill the girl, wait till they go back into their temple, sneak into the temple, granted, it's dark and dreary, and then we follow the guy with the staff, and he points, and you see with the telescope, the head cultist has a staff with a shiny green ball attached to it. We follow him and see where he puts the staff. Then, at night, when they fall asleep, we take the staff and we sneak out and we have the emerald egg that we've been commissioned to get by Farseeker. Does that sound great?
Sounds pretty easy, Carrie. What do you think?
So you mean to tell me that we're just gonna let an innocent woman die?
Well, I mean, she's not that innocent, first of all, because, she was with those guys, and a lot of times they find girls in the streets that are selling their bodies, so, hey, I'm not a moral compass. If you have a better idea, speak up.
Yeah. Next, how good of a sharpshooter are you?
Depends on the day, dude.
Well, can you see them pretty well?
Yep. I see them over there in their creepy hats. They look like elves.
In the corner of your eye, as she's talking to you, you see a light sort of appearing on the top of the ravine in this area by the trees on the path, and you hear the crunching sounds of dried stone. And it looks like somebody with a torch is approaching. They don't notice it, though.
Guys, someone's coming. From over there. You gotta hide.
Hagen hears that. He grabs both of you by your collars and sort of pulls you up, and he goes into the bushes over here. Do you guys go with him?
Yeah.
To take you off the map. The three of you quietly hide. As the person approaches, it is a third cultist with a large hood walking over to the ledge over there. You guys see him. He stops right there. No, okay, as you see this goes all the way around. You guys are elevated.
He just falls down.
Yeah, so his thing is, let's put him
Can't
right
see
here.
anything with this mask on.
He's eventually going to make his way down. And walk all the way down to there. There's a large amounts of rubble.
Not yet, not yet.
Not yet. Put him right there. He's eventually going to make his way down and join the other cultists. And you got three of you now see him. Because of the perceptions and your stealth. Actually, make stealth rolls. I'll roll for Hagen. 17, he's good.
19.
On that one?
No.
Oh no. I got a 19.
That ain't
Great.
good. Shit. I literally have it as that.
That one!
Wow. Does he see me? I'm just like, hey, how's it going?
As he walks over and starts walking in this direction, you and Hagen suddenly hear a branch snap next to you, and you turn, and it's him, and he makes a loud noise. The cultist with this long staff with a skull of a ram stops. You really can't see his face because of the hood, and he turns and he starts looking in your direction.
I ready my crossbow at my side.
Hey, how's it going? Time to beat the shit out of him.
12.
Pull him in the bushes.
Here's the long pause. As he squints what little eyes and he has, he leans forward to the bushes where you three are at. He stops, he brightens himself up, he turns around and he walks over to the edge. And he's looking down at the other cultists. Hagen says, do you have any plans? Now's the time to do it.
We could take him out real quick right now.
You speak loud.
We could take him out real quick right here and probably use his body or clothing to come as disguise.
Sister, Hagen says.
Yeah, I'm down to grab him.
Alright, this is going to be a sneak attack, so I'll allow you guys to do this, but you can either hit. So, I mean, you're going to grab or stab, whoever's going to do what, but I'll give you the free shot at first, because his back is turned.
You think you can knock him out and just punch him in the back of the head or whatever?
I could punch him.
Now, strategically, he's on a ridge high up.
Oh.
So, just
Okay,
keep this
maybe
in
not.
mind. Nobody else help them. I want you guys to figure this out and think about the repercussions of what can happen.
I could grapple him.
Okay.
And then
And
you
then
can come
he
in
would
and...
scream or make a noise and then other people would come by or, you know. I could just like shoot him in the head and,
I'll let you do two. If you grab him, I'll let you make a roll to cover his mouth. It's going to be a high roll. I can tell you, though, if you miss that high roll of covering his mouth, we're going to roll for initiative, and his turn's probably going to be scream and then break out. So
Since I might be more dexterous than you, maybe I should grab him.
15 or higher?
16.
16, 630? Yeah, do it.
Okay. Alright, since you fucked up last time, I'll take care of this.
okay.
Guess I'm more the strength person in the family.
You're going to approach him. You quietly step out of the brush. She's almost like a cat where you and Hagen look at each other like, what the hell? She's super quiet. Next, you slowly walk into the night sky. This cultist is looking down as you reach up. Make the roll, please. 20-sided dice. He has an AC of 12.
Nope.
That's bad.
You was talking all that you was talking all that smack a good second ago, huh?
Are you yelling at me from the bush?
You go to grab him, and at that last second, you step on a pebble, and he turns around.
Oh, by the gods!
He yells at the top of his voice. He picks up this stick, his staff, and he yells, and it echoes throughout the ravine. You hear Hagen say, "Here we go again!" Initiative.
Here to die.
Again, nice. Oh, those threes are hurting. Yep. That started.
Get him out of the way. Get him out of the way.
Get out of the way, there's only 3. You just
Yeah,
died.
that's probably the best.
So Nix, what was that about all that snack?
Let's see you do better.
Might as well. Same game as usual.
Let's fuck them up.
Talk about.
Fuck me up,
Fuck me up, Graham.
I rolled a 15. 15.
6.
6. Hagen. 3.
My goodness.
So I'm gonna let you go
Well,
first.
I
I'll
don't
go
have any
second.
dice, so you know.
Okay.
Hiru.
You guys got first in.
Cultist.
Bring him in.
Nyx.
This is not the time to be breaking the dice.
He's up the Betty Hill. He's like,
Alright.
in the back.
I know, right?
If you
Hagen.
do better, you do better. Let's go.
And then who had the lowest roll? Oh, you did.
No, I got a 6. He got
Oh,
a
you
15.
did. That's right. Nyx.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hagen's got a 3, so he's last. Yup. Okay. You're up.
Alright. I'm gonna go up to him. And I'm gonna punch him.
All right. You take your fist and you go to strike him.
Alright. That is a 9 to hit.
You go swing, and he actually nimbly jumps backward, almost falls off the ravine. You totally miss. It's his turn. I'm gonna roll a 20-sided die, and it depends whether he's gonna scream for help or he's just gonna come fighting you. And I'll do this out here. If I roll under a 10, he's screaming for help. 11. He goes to swing back at you with his staff.
Nice. Better than screaming for help.
Yeah, that's true.
15.
Nope.
Oh, you dive under it as he swishes right by you and he misses. Nyx, you're up.
Is he still standing on like the edge? Or
Yes, he is.
Yeah,
But
alright.
just remember strategy and
how high
right
is
percussions.
it?
It's about 40 feet up. 40 to 30 feet up.
Just kill him.
Just-
Can I just like look back at the other guy really quick and be like, how valuable is this staff? Is it worth our time?
We're Tomb Raiders. Hell yeah, it's worth our time. That egg is why we're here.
Alright.
Nix, maybe help me out.
Yeah, well, worth a shot. I'll shoot him with my crossbow, I guess.
All right. Let's see where. Okay, I'll give it to you. Yeah, you're at the bushes and you aim the crossbow at him.
Oh my god.
Okay, so that did not hit.
It sails.
Don't use the dice trade. That's what's hurting you.
It sails in the distance with a complete miss.
Bouncing off the wall.
I get a bonus action though. Can I do that now? Or
What's your bonus action?
a second shot?
Go ahead.
Cool. That's I don't know.
What's the number?
15 hit?
That is a hit. Roll for damage.
4.
Oh, it's a big thing.
No.
And the damage is what?
4.
4 altogether. It hits him right into the hip area. Ah! You hear him moan in pain as he staggers a little bit backward, balances on the ravine. It's Hagen's turn. Hagen is going to rush over and try to grapple him and bring him over from falling. The dwarf leaps from the bushes and starts running with his pudgy arms and jumps up to grab the cultist. And that's 20!
Oh no.
Hey, talking about that's good. He
And this thing, not only does he grapple him, the dwarf, this is the dwarf, grappling the cultist, he almost suplexes him and slams him on the ground, and the dwarf is on top of him, holding him down.
Hurry up, Kiro, let's go. Finish him.
I guess I have advantage because he's being like
Yep,
pinned down.
he's prone.
Alright.
Just grab the staff. Let's go.
That's not
That
the
is all
stuff.
we
That's
want.
Oh, I thought he was holding a staff.
He is holding
Alright,
ice
well,
stuff.
I got a 16 on the advantage, so
Yeah, a 16?
Yeah.
That's a hit. And what are you hitting him with?
I might as well say fucking use the rapier.
You pull out your sword, and that's a hit. Roll for damage.
Alright. That is an 8.
In lightning speed, your rapier goes into his back, and you pull it out. A stream of blood trickles upward. He stops moving. Hagen gets up and looks over at you.
That was too close. You almost got my ear, but good job.
Hagen walks over with his little gruffy self and his beard, and he looks up at you, Nix.
You need to practice more, young lady, instead of drinking with your brother.
Well, hey, look that. You're still in one piece.
Hagen reaches down and starts dragging this cultist to the side of the bushes.
I grab the hat.
The hood?
Yeah. No, the hat. Is it a hood?
It's a hood. It's a hood and a
It's
robe.
a entire
Okay.
set.
I want to
so,
keep this.
We're gonna use it as a disguise.
All right. I'm gonna wear that.
So what are you doing?
Isn't this a dude?
Yes. You pull off the hood and it's a man. He's dead. Nix, you have the hood and you put it on your head.
Oh, yeah.
The guy has a black robe underneath. So Nix is standing in her outfit, and the only difference is she has a red hood on her head.
What do you think?
Hagen slaps his forehead and he looks over at you and he says, "Time is money. Talk some sense into your sister."
Look, Nix, we gotta consider the situation here. What do you notice out of all these three?
They're matching.
They're men. Nix. They're men and they're sacrificing a woman.
All right. Fuck it. Here you go. I rip it off and I throw it at him.
Okay, she gives you the hood.
And I'm gonna take the black robe and everything that he has and put it on his stomach.
Take your character off the board. That is you now. Okay? You're there. Hagen's at the top of the ridge. Hagen reaches out by his ankle and he pulls out a very small crossbow and he holds it at,
I've got the overwatch. If you two go down there, take care of business.
you're going down?
What do you say? We're going down?
Yeah. Let's go get what we came for.
Alright.
Now, explain to me, as a dungeon master, what are your intentions? Are you gonna run down like rhinos in a lamp?
No.
Like, do you want to feel better?
She's gonna
No,
probably
you say
slowly.
yours. I'll say mine.
Alright, so what I'm planning to do is just get a little close to them, but not try anything. Maybe, hopefully, save the woman in the process, sacrifice another day. That way we don't.
Alright, so your plan is to go down there and try to use subterfuge to convince them by
Yeah.
talking? Okay. What's your...
I think that, his intentions are good, but, it normally doesn't end up well. So I'm gonna just try and find some cover and get ready to save his ass like I usually do.
With your crossbow?
Yeah.
Okay, both you and you see she and Hagen both are on their stomachs, and almost like perfect marksmen, they have their crossbows out, and they sort of look at you. Hagen lip syncs to you, "Don't fuck this up." Here we go.
Well, we're still alive.
All right. You start walking down to the bottom and bring yourself to where these guys are at.
So, like right here?
Yep.
Alright.
You want to move her to where those rocks are?
Just, yeah, like next
Yeah,
to
pull
the
her up
cover.
there. And again, I don't have Hagen's token, but
So I'm
you...
guessing right here?
Sure, that's fine.
Probably closer on the front.
Yeah, Hagen's going to stay way at the top of the Overwatch. Now, right there, she's going to be behind rocks. She won't have a shot.
I'll do the little square next to it.
Right here?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
Okay. You start walking down there as the cultists are standing around. The man with the staff, you immediately see this red, shiny, amber, crystal clear, it looks like an egg. And he's waving it around, he's chanting and talking. He sort of glances over at you and then goes back to this girl, and the girl, her chest is slowly going up and down. And at a closer look, you see she's been pretty messed up, pretty bad. The other two are standing at their sides holding daggers. And he says to you,
Brother, come, we're about to commit a blood to Oceanus.
Ah, yes.
so move yourself closer.
Perfect.
Yes.
Let's do
You
that.
step up onto this
Yes.
pedestal. The other three are there, and and as you look, you can't see their faces, as you're pretty sure they can't see yours. But let's do a performance check.
Alrighty.
Ah, yes.
Somebody say performance.
15.
Ooh. What are you gonna do?
I am going to look around. I am observing and saying, ah, yes, the ritual. However, people, why must we have this?
You speak up a little bit, Ken.
I'm saying to my brothers, like, but brothers, why not have this lady for just one more night?
So he says to you,
Did you say you want this sacrifice to play with one more night?
Is that not what we do here, brother?
let's do a persuasion roll.
I don't know what we can do.
We play with these.
10.
Yes, the 10 is good. He looks at you, the guy with the staff, and he sort of nods.
Yes.
The other two cultists stare at each other, and one says,
I don't know about you, boss, but I want to watch this guy plowing into this girl.
And the other one says, I agree. We'll wait in the temple. So let's take those two guys with the hoods, give me them, and they turn and they start making their way towards the temple. Are you going to take a shot or are you going to wait to see what he does?
No, I'm gonna wait it out.
Okay. Hagen also is going to wait at the top. And to your surprise, your plan is working, but the old guy with the staff is out there with you. And he actually looks at you and goes, brother, you don't mind if I watch? And he has a nasty grin on his face.
Did I say that you could fucking watch?
No, it's fine. I want you guys to speak up louder though. It's hard with your mask.
Did I say that you could watch?
The guy with the staff and the egg that you see looks at you. I've let brothers watch me take care of the oracles.
Well, yes, I know, but you know, this is kind of a personal thing, you know?
What was that?
This is kind of a personal thing, you know?
He looks at you. Make another persuasion roll.
That's 12.
He has the cane and he has this staff, and you see the egg, and it's a transparent green egg. There's something inside it, and he looks at you and he says, "Okay, if you want, I'll leave you alone with this girl, and I'm gonna go into the temple." And immediately,
Actually, wait, my brother. I could let you watch, but you need to let me have that staff for just a few minutes as I do it.
and he looks at it. I am the cultist chief. Why do you need my staff? The staff of Oceanus. And he holds it up, and the little egg thing starts rocking back and forth.
Trust me, Chief. I know what I'm doing. With this woman, we will have her gone and sacrificed to our great Lord by the end of the night.
His eyebrow actually goes up as he looks at you. Make a persuasion roll, disadvantage. You need 15 or higher.
Oh no.
This is a kraken, it's not a board.
They were both not good. I got
With blazing speed, which surprises you for an older man, the bottom part of the staff goes up and knocks off your hat, showing your face. He looks at you with an angry look on his face. You ain't our brother!
Ain't that the truth?
And he goes into a defensive stance, initiative, with the three of you.
Shot time!
Throw it.
I told you I should have worn the outfit.
Should have said it's a fantasy of mine.
That's what I was saying.
I got a 5 for the cultist.
20.
20?
22.
That's time.
Wow.
I got
22.
Like, how about you go on that side?
Hagen.
9.
Hey, how's it going?
What the fuck?
Oh, look at the bright side. I got the guys off us. So now we got
That's
blessed.
it. What we came for. Stop chitter-chattering.
The cultist swings and spins the staff almost like a martial artist. He gets into a defensive stance and he looks at you and snarls. Go first.
Alright.
And he's next to you.
That's true, yeah.
Over here.
What are you going to do before you roll, please?
I'm gonna engage.
What are you going to engage? Are you going to thrust your hips into him? Are you going to speak to him? What are you going to do?
Well, I'm like putting my hands up, like, alright, well, time to go.
Alright, it's your turn. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna punch him.
Oh, punch him. Okay, go.
Alright. I don't punch him. That's a 9.
You swing and he uses the staff to deflect your bow, and you see your brother clumsily miss, and your eyes roll up like Jesus. You
Not again.
You grab your crossbow to see if you can save your brother's ass one more time.
Okay, so I shoot it first time. Okay, but like this 10
Okay, so what did you roll?
10.
Okay, the first shot goes and totally, it misses into the distance.
Right?
That was not my dominant hand.
And what are you gonna do now?
Then I have a bonus action to try again with the other crossbow.
Go for it.
Alright, that one goes. 22.
Woo! That is a hit. You hit your mark. Roll for damage.
That actually misses.
4.
That's good. And it goes to his shoulder. He staggers back, and you hear a loud scream of pain. Another arrow cuts the night air from the top of the ridge. It sails by and breaks and shatters, completely misses, and you hear the familiar voice of Hagen. Ah! With a total miss.
Take care of this, would ya?
He's gonna swing his staff at you. He does, and you move out the way, and he completely misses. Top of the order.
Alright,
Just grab the staff, let's go.
let's go.
What are you doing?
Are you gonna grab it or
Punching him? What did you roll?
14.
That is a hit. Roll for damage.
Alright. That's a 6.
You go straight back and almost Hadouken in a slow motion type of action. His fist clocks and uppercuts this cultist. The cultist goes up in the air, drops the cane, and falls unconscious onto the ground.
Sorry.
I hurriedly grab the staff.
You quickly grab the staff, and you see him do an excellent punch as the cultist is out. The sounds of Hagen coming down towards you, walking almost grumpy, saying to you, "Come on, young lady, let's get to your brother."
Well,
We should probably hide the body and then take her.
just leave it. We came for the staff.
We are not leaving this woman to die.
Now that when you look at the staff, it's a long stick, but what's important is not the staff, it's actually the round egg. It's about the size of a cue ball, and it's crystal clear, it's green, it's emerald.
Can I,
Inside, yeah. As
can I
you,
detach it from
yeah, it's easily detached, you pull it off. Inside of it, it looks like a cross between a squid and a shrimp, frozen in time. You hear Hagen step up to you, he looks at it, and he says to you, "Ah, this is great.
Yeah.
Farseeker was going to pay us greatly. What I need you both to do is tomorrow, get to the northern docks in Waterdeep. Meet with Farseeker, get on his ship. He is aware that you'll be showing up with this item. Let him know who you are. Only show it if they ask to see it."
I try and grab it from him.
I already put it like show it.
No, I'm trying to grab it.
Let me see it. I don't okay.
I don't
Hagen
have it.
says,
I want it.
"Let's go get something to drink." But at that moment,
Hold on.
Yes.
The lady.
The lady, at that moment, you hear her sobbing and crying as she's coming out of some type of trance. And she actually, from now you see, she's not a woman. She's about 16 years old. And from these injuries, these injuries are indicative of some type of sexual assault as well. So she's been through a lot.
Alright, I try to go over there and tell her like, hey, it's okay.
Speak up.
I go to her and I try to reassure her like, hey, everything's okay. That the cultists are gone. We're not here to do anything to you. We're just here to get you someplace safe.
Her hand goes up to you and touches the side of your face. Her eyes barely open. She says to you, "Edro, my God sent you. Edro, the God of peace and tranquility of the sea." She coughs, and Nix, from where you're at in Hagen, you both hear her breathing is labored. She's been through so much. And the last word she says to you before she slips and dies is, "On the seas, watch out for Edro's flying silver fish, for they will bring you, and she dies.
Bring what?
Hagen looks at both of you and he says, "Her soul will be at rest now. At least she wasn't killed by these lunatics. Come, we have work to do in Waterdeep. Farseeker awaits."
What do you think she meant by beware of the flying silver fish? Yeah, bring her up.
We'll deal with that later.
It's like the effort.
Well, we have to deal with when it comes in all the time.
Oh, this is the hanging out with my mom lately.
Man down.
Probably not best to do this. It's not mine.
Try to slide sizzle. I mean, yeah, I hear this.
Not arrows, not arrows.
Funny and yet great. That's why I like that.
You guys have like arrows and punches.
Oh, I like it.
Wow.
Yeah, I'm like, well, right.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, you're already so you got
Like
like.
arrows and the pointer. That's what we got when we came here. Before I left that thing in there.
Aw.
Nathan Drake in a sense.
Yeah.
Just like, hey, how's it going, guys?
Yes.
Just like, ah, yes.
No, my favorite thing was kind of personal, man.
They're like, oh, man. Like, I feel like I did screw it up. I said our great lord. I was like, it was Oceanus, wasn't it? I think it'll be fine if I just say great lord.
Our great Lord Jesus.
I would have
But the
offered,
great lord is still sucks.
I would have offered him to do the girl.
I would have. I was just like, but just like saying like, trust me. No.
Well, I want to.
Oh, I can. I'll hold your stuff.
Just like, don't worry.
Like Rafiki.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah. That's it.
Oh yes. The religion, the cult.
Here we go.
Of course I know about the cult. I know.
All right. The Lazy Seagull. It's a small tavern located down a side street within the northern docks of Waterdeep. And the northern dock is a busy port district. Most come to the Seagull for a drink, conversation, and respite from a hard day's work. And on this sunny morning, we find a quiet, dark figure drinking alone. A very large man with a battle axe attached to his back with a strap and no shirt. He's not looking for conversation or respite. This figure is looking for the courage to face his clan, his people, as a failure. You see, this barbarian came to Waterdeep as a sword for hire, but like Waterdeep, there are hundreds of swords for hire. So we find this barbarian sitting by himself, thinking of the liquid courage he needs to face his people in his village, coming back as a failure. Introduce and describe your character.
This is Conrad Killam. He is a human barbarian. He's middle-aged, probably about 45 years old. White hair, white beard growing in. Mismatched pauldrons because he found one along his way. Sword for hire. Shield's pretty messed up. And he's always boozed up because he's quite a failure. And he doesn't really want to face his crew, his clan. But he knows he needs to get home for his wife and his kids.
I'm a barbarian with a family. The Celtic tavern.
Now, the Lazy Seagull itself, this tavern, it's a small cottage-style tavern. It has a large fireplace and is flanked by several tables and chairs. There's a portly bartender tending bar, cleaning glasses, and stocking them up at the bar. And a shapely barmaid is circulating the room with a tray and a towel or a net or some type of towelette under her wrist. You see her put some drinks down at a corner table filled with dock workers that themselves are getting a little on the drunk side. Her eyes make contact with you, Conrad. She starts walking over in your direction. There is another subject in the place that's catching your attention. He's a drunk man. He's staggering and he's going from table to table talking to people. The woman walks over to you with a tray of empty, nothing on the tray. She says to you, "What's wrong, Governor? You look sad for sorts."
A little down on my luck these days. Just trying to get home. Can't really find work.
She goes to respond to you, but then she looks over to the drunk man that's circulating the room, and the drunk man actually approaches the four men in a corner. "Bloody hell! I hope there's not gonna be any fighting in the establishment." She looks back at you. "My love, you came to the right place. For here at the Lazy Seagull, all your worries will be left behind. I have the perfect medicine for you." She stops and she looks back at you. "Do you trust me, my love?"
Don't really have anything else going for me, so sure.
"No worries, sweetheart." And she turns and her dress sort of swishes in the wind and she skedaddles over to the bar and she's preparing drinks. The thoughts in your mind go through your head about going home and try to find a way to approach the chieftains of your village and your wife and child to say you are unable to support the village. The woman comes back with a large mug, and it's made of wood, and a pitcher. She puts this mug in front of you. She pours an ale, and she lifts it up and lifts it low, and you see a froth appear. It drips down the side. She grabs the handle of the mug and slowly slides it in front of you. For a normal person, it's a very large mug, but for you, it'll do. She slides it over to you. So, sweetheart, with the sorry sad look on your face, what is wrong, my love?
Just not really getting anywhere in this place. I came here to make some money, and it's just not it's not working out for me.
You come to the right place. If it's work you need, we have many dishes and cups that need to be cleaned. Though based on your size, I doubt that is something that you're used to or do any good.
It's not my forte.
Well, my forte is to bring you food and drink. I'll have lots of stuff coming your way. If you need anything else, you let me know.
Thank you, my lady.
And she goes to turn and she says, bloody hell, would you leave my customers alone? And she's talking to a drunk man again in the distance. She goes over to the bar as you sit there and you have this glass of ale. Drinking it?
Yeah, take a sip.
You take a sip and it's actually pretty decent. You sort of wipe the froth from your lip and you scan around, you look, and you see this drunk man at this table with these 4 dock workers. And these dock workers are probably here for their break in the morning. And they seem to be looking annoyed at this drunk man. The woman comes back again and she has a giant bowl. It's pretty large and it's filled with stale bread chips. And they have some type of pepper seasoning on it. She slides this in front of you. These will help you with your thirst, my lad. And maybe you'll want more drink.
I'm gonna eat about a handful of them.
Okay, you grab a handful. When you grab a handful of these, the sounds of breaking glass and screeching chairs cut through the tavern. The drunken man suddenly goes flying across the room, lands onto your lap, and then stumbles to the floor. His drunk eyes look up at you as the barmaid steps back and gasps. And he says to you before he passes out drunk, "Fly, ferret, fly!" And he collapses drunk. But at that moment, can you move the big guy with the bald head? This token? No, that guy. Over towards you. Take away that old man, the drunk. Slide this way. Thank you. At that moment, one of the dock workers approaches you and he stands over and he has his fist clenched and he's pretty large. As a matter of fact, he's almost your size. He looks at the drunk on the ground and he looks over at you and he scowls at you. And you're in no mood to be trifled with at all. As he looks down at the drunk and looks over at you,
Oi! Is that a friend of yours?
He's no friend of mine. And you don't look too friendly yourself.
he scowls even more. Make an intimidation roll. 17 or higher.
Oh boy.
Yeah, he's drunk. He has drunk glasses on. He can take on the world.
That's 5.
Alright.
Very scary.
Yeah. So the man stands over at you and squints his eyes, and he says in a loud voice as he turns sort of to the guys in the back of the room,
It's 2 for 1 night at the Seagull, boys. It looks like I have another face that's going to be hitting my fist.
he sort of gets into a fighting stance, and you know he means business. Roll for initiative.
Bye-bye.
Oh.
6.
18. He clenches his fist, and he swings at you. 17.
Hits.
Oh, he's gonna get into a rage.
1 point of damage. Crack. Boom. He hits you. The other men on the other side of the room, they all stand up from their chairs, and you hear their chairs falling over as they may get involved. Your turn. What would you like to do?
Where's the door?
Here's the door. The door is behind you, and as you look back, you see the barmaid. Give me the figure. She runs out of the door. Not on this day! And she goes scampering out into the streets. That's the last thing you hear.
Here.
That's a big fireplace. And that's a door, and at the far end is another door, but that goes into the tavern.
Can I make it to the door?
Which door?
The main exit. Yeah,
Okay.
I don't want to fight.
He's gonna get an opportunity to attack, so you can either deal with him, and you're just gonna haul ass.
I'm out.
Okay, here we go.
Run away, big barbarian. Alright.
Right.
It's not our birthday.
You go to run, and another fist comes right at you and misses as you go and you scamper out to the main door.
I like the same size.
Let's slide that map out the way.
Towards you?
No, it doesn't matter. It's out the way. You push open the main doors and you exit the tavern. You instinctively squint your eyes at the morning sun as it shines brightly on your face, and the noise that was inside the tavern suddenly dissipates, as all you hear are the sounds of a merchant area. Looking to your right, you see the barmaiden, but she's speaking to a guard on a horse.
Oh no.
Two other guards stand, and they point in your direction, as she as well is pointing in your direction. Several other guards run out as well, so the total of 5. The horse and 4 foot soldiers.
A horse.
Numerous patrons and merchants in this busy area. They all look around for confusion, but their all eyes fall on you, this large, shirtless barbarian. But to your left, the street extends about 60 yards toward the northern docks. Beyond that are several ships and the great harbor. Suddenly, the horse-mounted guard shouts to you, "You at that tavern! Halt in the name of the king!"
And blue skidoo to the water we run.
You can keep hauling ass?
All in S.
Alright, let's roll for initiative if he's on a horse.
Oh.
There's a 4.
I rolled a 2.
Alright.
Miss.
Are you using my dice? No.
I run an engine.
Use it.
You also
So
do.
you gave me a D12.
Oh.
So the barbarian, knowing that he's outnumbered, turns towards the docks and he starts to haul ass down this side market street. But there are so many people around you, it's hard to maneuver. You need to make a dexterity roll. 12 or higher.
It's
So, what's not about good luck on those dice?
a 4.
He rolled a 4. Oh, you suddenly trip over an old woman and you tumble.
Running around looking
As
so
you
good.
get up on the ground, a horse is almost barreling right on top of you. Let's roll initiative with you and the horse and the rider.
Oh my god.
6.
15.
You get up. The horse is almost on top of you. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna turn around and punch the horse in the face.
You turn and you look at the horse. The rider's on top. His eyes are like, who the hell would hit a city horse?
This man.
It's a low arm.
13.
With your fist, boom! You hit the horse in the face. Let's roll a chance to see if this horse falls over or not. You're gonna roll a 20-sided dice. 1 through 10, the horse is on his feet. 11 or higher, he falls over.
8.
The horse staggers back, but it's on his feet. But that hit was enough for you to turn and haul ass. But the guy on the horse
What's he running from?
has a spear and he swings it in your direction.
Oh.
17?
It's.
Oh my god.
What are you running from?
Why are you running?
3 damage.
Why are you running?
As you start hauling ass with this opportunity attack, you feel the slice of a blade on your back and it stings. The crowd is like, whoa, in shock as you go running. But this guy's on a horse. He's going to be on you any second, and your body is
Is there
bleeding.
anything around me?
Let's make a perception roll. With advantage.
That's perception. 13.
You need 10 or higher. You start frantically looking for anything of help. The only thing that catches your attention, to your right, as you run towards the docks, there is a small tent set up. And in the tent, there is a large wheelbarrow. And inside this wheelbarrow are several barrels themselves. And they're tied to a rope, and the rope seems to be attached to a single peg that's in the ground. You may be able to run by and knock it out your way to buy you some time.
I'm gonna take my axe in one hand, my hand axe, and as I run, I'm just gonna try to scoop the ground.
Shoot the peg out.
Yep.
If you do it successfully, my friend, the barrels will roll out and the horse will have a hard time. You're gonna need a hit of 12 or higher. It's a hit.
That's an 8 plus. What is it?
12 or higher.
That's an 8.
You totally miss. Boom! As you go running. Now it's initiative. As you get towards the intersection.
Oh my god.
5.
6, 7, 8. 8.
Okay. You can do a dodge. You can evade. You can fight.
Try this.
Right now, I want you to imagine as you're running towards the dock, it's almost like a T. You're finally getting to the point where you're getting close to the dock area, so you'll be able to go left or right or turn and fight. So it's your turn. What would you like to do?
Is there anything? You said I made it to the dock, or I'm about to walk on the dock?
Yeah, so to give you a heads up, the cobblestone roads that you are on, they transition to hardwood planks as you approach the northern dock area. The smell of oil, salt water, and tar, they invade your nostrils. You see numerous ships and other seagoing vessels are quietly docked as seagulls are flying above your head looking for easy meals. Just beyond the docks are merchant ships, and then there's the great harbor itself of Waterdeep. It's alive with activity as you stand and quickly trying to take in what's going on. Citizens in the dock area, they look curiously in your direction as they hear a commotion coming from the street you just ran from. It's just a matter of moments before the dock is swelling with city guards, and the guards are all over you.
Am I close enough to hop on a boat?
Let's make a perception roll.
That's 6.
God, you're just having bad luck today.
As you look around, you're not close enough to make it to a boat. However, make one more perception roll, and you're gonna need a 12 or higher.
That's a 15.
There we go.
15, you get it. Oh, shit.
Oh my God.
As you stand, you look around, the only thing that catches your attention are a stack of large crates, and they're all stacked at the edge of a pier next to a boat. And on the side of the boat, in clear, bright yellow letters, it says, "The Sea Ferret."
Can I hide behind those things?
You can, but make a stealth check. As you go running towards the crates. And that is exact. I'm looking at it here. An 8 is what you need.
I'm hiding.
On your turn, that last movement, you go running to the crates and you jump down and you hanker between all these crates next to this large ship. You see you're standing on a fishing net and you hear the commotion going on in the area where you came from. Suddenly, the net around you rises upward, trapping you and the crates. A wooden crane squeals to life as the crates lift you, as you and the crates get lifted up into the air. The crane swings you over the water and then stops when you're directly above the Sea Ferret's deck. At this elevated position, you see numerous guards filling up the dock area, asking and speaking to people, and they're all pointing in different directions. Obviously, they're looking for you. The wooden crane slowly lowers you, the barbarian, and these crates on the deck of this mysterious ship. Your destiny is about to change forever, my friend, for running actually saved your life.
Was that what?
That was good.
Barbarian has the worst luck ever.
Okay, hey Walter and everybody, we're gonna take a nice about 10-minute break. We gotta set up a big piece, and we're gonna start with the next player introduction.
Alright,
See you in a little bit.
Oh my god, I'm dying.
That was the funniest shit.
I was crying.
Fucking mind, bro.